Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay in the back? Excellent. Thank you. So my name is Mary Hester. I'm from SurfNet, the Dutch Research and Education Network in the Netherlands. Today, for this session, we're going to do the award ceremony for our Enlighten Your Research program. Can I have a show of hands who's familiar with the Enlighten Your Research program in the audience? Excellent. Okay, so that's most of you. So today I'm just going to give a brief overview of what the program is, and then we'll go over what the Enlighten Your Research program is for the EaPEC Connect project, and we'll go over some of the results for this year, and then we'll announce our winners. So I'll open up with a short film about what the program is to help explain. Right. So I should say after that video, don't check out the website yet because it's still under construction, but it'll be ready probably in the next month or so. All right. So Enlighten Your Research for EaPEC Connect. What we have tried to do is to make sure that this is a platform for to stimulate the use of the technology that the NRENs are providing for the researchers and the end users. It helps to build the visibility for the NRENs with those end user communities. And it provides different e-infrastructure resources that can be provided through the NRENs. These are some example resources that have been used in the past. The most recent ones that have been added are the cloud infrastructure resources and also engagement with other European researchers. So we also try to build more collaboration by connecting people and researchers that we know. This program, we've been running this program for the last 3 years. In 2016, there were 2 projects that were finalists, and then in 2017, we had a much bigger response from the community, and we had over 30 proposals in 6 final projects. And then I'll go over this year's results next. But something that I really want to share with you is that this Enlighten Your Research program, what it does is it builds communities, the use cases, and the advocacy around the research and education infrastructures. So it's not just the NRENs, but it's also the computing resources and the storage as well. So the results for this year's program, we had the most amount of proposals I've ever had for an Enlighten Your Research, which was we had over 35 plus proposals, and we have 7 final projects. These are all the topics that will be announced later on today, and I'll invite the researchers to come up and talk a little bit about their research and these topics and how the Enlighten Your Research program is going to be helping them. And then these were the types of resources that were requested by the projects. All right, so without further ado, I will go through the award winners. I'll announce them, and then they're invited to come give a quick speech. I would like to ask Catherine Stover to join me as the Chief Collaboration Officer of Géant, so she'll be helping give out the awards and a certificate. So I'd like to welcome up Vitaly Lauchuk for the deep learning application for big medical image archives, detection of disease, and generation of artificial images. Yes, thanks.
So should I talk a little bit about the project? Okay, so thank you very much. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here and to be part of this very important program. So I think that this program will help us a lot to improve all that we have now and to share our results with others. So first of all, I'm from United Institute of Informatics, which is in Minsk in Belarus. And my department is called Biomedical Image Analysis Department. And basically, the main thing what we do is biomedical image analysis. So why it is important to support us? First of all, because we have access to very large collections, very good collections of data, biomedical image data. So first of all, I want to mention that we have access to almost 2 million of X-ray images, which are collected from screening data. So it's, to our best knowledge, is the world's largest collection of X-ray images. Secondly, we have access to a large database of computer tomography scans, which right now it's about 12,000 of images, but these images are 3D, so they consist of a lot of 2D slices, so it's still a lot of data. And for some portion of this data, we have very detailed annotation with very detailed diagnosis, social data, laboratory data, and so on. Also, we have access to hyper large histology images, and well, this field is also developing rapidly right now. So what we're going to do with this? So we already done something. Considering X-ray and CT images, our goal is to detect at the early stages some presence of some abnormalities in X-ray images and also in CT. In CT scans, we have some database with manually labeled tuberculosis lesions inside, and considering the X-ray data, we have some also labels for a number, something like 20 different diseases from the screening database. And since our screening database is large, we have a really nice data sets for each of the disease, and so we plan to develop a system which can predict at the early stage some abnormalities. Also, a very important thing to mention is the task of generation of artificial images. So, as you know, manual labeling and collection of biomedical imaging data is a really difficult task. It's more difficult than in the case of holiday pictures, let's say, which everyone takes on his mobile phone. So, in biomedical imaging research, there's also a problem that we have too few data, and it's always better to have more. So one of the possible answers to this would be generation of new images. So these are, on the left side, you see some images of, some real X-ray images of real people, and on the right-hand side, you see the images generated automatically. So these are images of people who never existed. But still, our idea is that having good enough images like this and good amount of them, we can use them to train the algorithm, to train deep neural networks, and etc., and improve the results in classification and detection of diseases. So the same thing concerns about histology images. On the left-hand side, you see the real histology images. On the right-hand side is artificial images. So we think that applying deep computational resources will improve the results of what we have. And in the end, we want to develop a couple of web services so that everyone can use what we achieved. So thank you very much.
So the other thing I should say is I need to apologize for the accent. I'm trying to pronounce the names as best as I can. So I would like to announce the next winner, which is for the Belarusian WLCG Computing Facility for Research in High Energy Physics. Vitaly Yermolchik. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here and present you our project, Belarusian WCG Computing Facility by EaPEC for Research in High Energy Physics. Scientists from Institute for Nuclear Problems from Belarusian State University participate in data analysis of two greatest modern experiments in particle physics. It is ATLAS and CMS, and in particular we're involved in the analysis, the data analysis in standard model group of CMS. It is forward-backward asymmetry measurements, angular coefficients, and cross-section studies of the de Broglie process, and also in ATLAS jet physics analysis, jet energy measurements and corrections, jet processes cross-section measurements. So we want to make our own sensitive contribution to the exploration fundamental structure of the matter. Nowadays, experiments in high energy physics are impossible without usage of computer technologies. I think WCG, worldwide LHC computer grid, is one of the main component of success of Higgs boson discovery. And we set up the certified and production EGI grid site by EaPEC. Which is the only certified in production WCG site, grid site in Belarus. On slide you can see the nice map of LHC data transfer, and LHC produce a really huge amount of data, even when after we select events which are needed, important, interesting for our analysis. The data set size is about several terabytes, and we need retransfer it many times during analysis. So our main bottleneck was the low connectivity bandwidth with WCG network. At 50 megabit speed, we couldn't use XRD services. We almost 50% of WCG jobs failed with errors, timeout errors, after waiting in FTS transfer queue. So our international partners from CERN and DESY didn't have possibility to work with data which was stored at our site. Now, thanks to the Enlighten research program of EaPEC Connect project and Belarusian National Research and Educational Network BASNet, we have 1 gigabit connectivity with GENT, and it means that our users have become closer to their international partners. On the next slide, you can see data transfer rate during general data analysis task execution. With access to joint network provided by BusNet, we have peak performance about 400-600 megabit, and now we can use in XRD to access intermediate analysis results without the necessity of local replication. And our partners can access data on our side and vice versa. Fast connectivity with WCG gives us opportunity to use their services and to contribute to experimental data analysis. Thank you again, and special thanks to EaPEC Connect project members and BusNet team.
So for our next award winner is Sergei Zolotarov, and he wasn't able to join us today, and so Vitaly will be accepting his award in his place. And this is for the development of parallel algorithm, ILST. All right, so the next proposal or project is finding EEG biomarkers for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, epilepsy in clinical settings using neuroinformatics. And this goes to Irma Hachitsa from the Caucasus University in Georgia.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm Irma Kachidze from Tbilisi, Georgia. I am working on Veritashvili Center of Experimental Biomedicine as a main researcher. Also, I'm professor of Caucasus University, Tbilisi, Georgia. I have got experience both in clinical science and basic science too, basic studies too, which I share with my colleagues and my students. Oops, sorry. I study brain electrical activity, EEG electroencephalography in epilepsy patients to identify criteria for optimization of treatment, also for optimization and determine EEG predictors during the treatment too. Also, I'm investigating the EEG in attention deficit hyperactivity disorders in these children to determine EEG biomarker of these disorders. I have been involved in many international projects. For instance, existing collaborative projects include international partners such as the Royal Institute of Technology from Sweden, also European University from Ukraine, and also Caucasus University from Georgia. Within this collaborative project, I have worked to investigate new computer approach of brain research. And I would like to express my thankful EAP and also Grena, especially Ramas Kotadze, giving me opportunity to use computer network resources for my research and to share with my colleagues too. And also, it really increased my experience and skills. For instance, in my cases, during the existing collaborative project, I'll share our data with my partners, which is very helpful for us because we are finding new EEG biomarkers for both directions, for identify EEG criteria for normal condition, for normal brain, also to adequate assessment of degree of brain dysfunction, which is very important also. Such EP programs promote benefits of computer networking resource to researcher, also increase our opportunity, and also provide wide opportunity and raise awareness in the field of education, science, infrastructure, and service too. And additionally, take part EaPEC project greatly assist integration Georgian scientists, especially women, because it's very active right now, in European scientific and academic space too. Also, international exchanges encourage us to use new research application, to join new research application in framework of, for instance, in Horizon 22, which has really increased our international scientific profile. And so we are very motivated, facilitated to looking for our future potential collaborators to establish new scientific contacts and enlarge Eastern Partnership. And finally, I would say, as a winner, this challenging will be extremely important, not only for me, but for disseminating the knowledge and share with Georgian colleagues and students too, and make the progress. And also, I would mention as a scientist and also participant, especially brain research scientist, this is EaPEC Connect promote not only our research or our brain too, train our mind, and also it's build up brain-computer network to success of brain research in future. Thank you, Madloba Mulțumesc.
For our next award, it goes to Dumitru Germia for the development of educational programs for different target groups of population on environmental management based on EU environmental directives.
Okay, so thank you very much for a nice opportunity to have this small presentation on environmental issues. So we had a presentation on the projects which are running in Moldova in different domains in the Academy of Sciences. And actually I would like to to attract your attention to the educational issues. And the point for that is actually we have a lot of problems with the hazards. And as an example, in the southern part of Moldova, in the lower part of the Danube River Basin, we have increasing of the summer temperature for more than 3 degrees during the summer period. In addition to it, the torrentiality of precipitation also increased for 7–10%. And the issue is that there are a lot of opportunities to apply for different projects in the frame of the Danube cooperation. But the capacities of local authorities, of different people to apply for these projects are rather low. And the point is to have educational activities which will help to people to apply for these projects. So, well, it's something new. So, where to go? So, same. So, but no, something is wrong. So I have to use this one. Yeah, I just to put it. Okay, so it's a technical issue, but I shall to try to talk to those. Okay. So, excuse me, it was last one. So, to managing towards the extremes. It's a mistake not in 2008, it's just now, this year, 2018. And the use of different resources on integrated management of water resources is based on such directives as flood directive, water directive, and also the hazard directive of the European Union. Main objectives, it's the monitoring of the hazards and assessment of the vulnerability and definitely the development of the mitigation measures. So it's rather interesting about the mitigation. When we apply for the mitigation, so we often receive an answer, so no problems, no floods, nothing. When flood happens, some allocations come, maybe 10 million, 15 million lei, so it's not too much, but anyway. Next year, when no floods, no money. And the point is to convince and to educate the people and authorities in order to be ready to apply and to implement the measures which are presented for the mitigation of the flood and drought consequences. So the focus of the educational programs. The first is increasing of the capacity of educational institutions. And main issues for educational development is regional cooperation, presentation of demo projects, capacity development, knowledge and networking. And definitely activities which we are doing now. The data collection and stock, so it's rather interesting to have this because the technical capacities of the universities to collect this information, to stock and manage it are rather limited, but anyway, something is going. And actually for the educational programs, it's also important to know the frequency of the natural hazards. So it can happen that a number of years, no hazards. And it is a relax of different, and it is an issue for relax for different level of authorities. And the point is them to be ready whenever to intervene in the development, in the resolving of the problem. Another one, it is well-developed database. So it is just, this process is just at the beginning, and we do hope that it will work and we shall have a database which will allow us to develop some programs on the mitigation of the hazards. So, and approach, again, to knowledge management, to development of guidance, because it's very often that people and also the teachers and professors, they do not know how to deal with the softs and the hardware which is available in order to educate students and other to target groups of population like local and sectoral authorities. It's also important to have tools and mechanisms for the using of the national and regional data on the hazards and the management of the hazards in order to propose measures to mitigate them. And also the capacity building. So it's trainings and also the use of relevant hardware and software. So in this case, I want to say that we are actually developing a project with the Toulouse University from France on the development of the educational activities. And so one of the objectives is providing of technical and methodological assistance on the use of of soft and hardware in the educational activities. Regional cooperation, so a lot of things, but I want to say that actually in Moldova, Free International University, or OLIM, and also Institute of Ecology and Geography are developing the case study which could be relevant for Moldova and the lower Danube region on the hazard management. and a cooperation with educational institutions. Main challenges, it is insufficient capacities. In addition to it, I also want to say that unfortunately attractivity for young people to deal with environmental hazards is becoming lower and lower. But anyway, with the development of the joint projects with EU and neighbor countries, so we do hope that attractivity for young people will go ahead. And solutions, so as I told, it's a cooperation in the frame of the Eastern Partnership. We have a national platform for the Eastern Partnership in Moldova, and one of the groups under this platform, it's environmental and climate adaptation issues. And national educational activities. What we are doing now, it's development of a curriculum for the risk and hazard management, also to data collection and preparing of the case studies. It's very important to have the case studies because what we have now, we have from the Soviet era, and these case studies are old and cannot be used now. And what is interesting to have some case studies, so we have a very good case study from the flood on the Danube in Romania when they opened the gates and allowed the water to cover some parts of the floodplains, and it saved a lot of and agricultural lands and also some localities. The case studies. So, the water retention measures in case of floods, soil moisture conservation, and we have the first experience. We published a guide on the soil moisture conservation for farmers in case of droughts, measures to be ready to respond in the case of extreme events, and also regional cooperation. Regional cooperation is mainly undertaken under the International Convention for the Protection of the Danube River, so-called ICPDR, and so they promote regional cooperation in the lower part of the Danube. And I want to say that a couple of years ago, there was developed a climate change adaptation strategy for the lower Danube region, and we are in line with the strategy. Educational issues are one of the most important issues in this strategy. And the development of the guidance, so it's necessary to have tools and mechanisms how to use educational, so the database in educational curriculums, to choose educational methodology, so it's more or less clear, but if we go ahead with concrete cases, it's rather difficult because students are not ready to use the softs, and it's necessary to have a preliminary work with them in order to adapt them to the use of soft and hardware. So, and development of measures, indicators for educational efficiency. So it will be done in future in order to know how successful we are in implementation of educational activities. And my, not last, but I'm close to the end. So, and core activities, data collection, best case studies, incorporation of relevant planning activities in educational programs, new practices like electronic library, electronic teacher, electronic teaching, management, and so on. And some benefits. I shall not to talk on that, but I shall tell you that just recently in July, we have received a certificate from UNESCO on the creation of the first biosphere reserve in Moldova, which will serve as a pilot area for sustainable development in the lower part of our country, and practices which will obtain in different domains of the hazard management, social and so on, will serve as as a guidance for application in other parts of the country and maybe in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. Yes, this one. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, we should. Yes, okay, there we go, just in time. All right, so I'd like to invite Adalat Hasanov to join us, and he'll speak about his project creating a unified database of well logs studying of oil and gas deposits in Azerbaijan. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, first of all, say that it's a great opportunity for me to be here, and my really thanks to the program committee for selecting of our proposal. Our proposal title you can see from this slide, and it looks like a proposal presented before me. It also concerned to the creating of database, but difference between previous and our proposal consists of this. Our database devote to the well logs data, which relate, of course, with oil and gas industry in Azerbaijan. What is the difference? Just I don't want to repeat the same details of methodology and so on because it looks like similar, but I would like to just point at difference between these, because this difference consists of that's during oil gas exploration existed several stages. It's a pre-exploration, exploration, post-exploration, and exploitation. Actually, during all this process, collecting big amount of data, which can be included as big data, and of course, in this methodology, using this special approach, which call it as this special methodology, which is related with special approach, which consists of just a moment. Logic, fuzzy logic. This methodology developed by our famous scientist, Dr. Lutfizadeh. And we try to implement the same technology because it gives us opportunity to receive finally this very important data which can allow to increase this oil and gas industry. Also, implementation of this proposal will allow us to create, store, modify, and archive huge arrays of data. And during this, we use the standard methods of professional work with relational within WMS, within Oracle platform. Except of it, we clearly understand that participation in EAPEC program opens great opportunities for us, such as accessing to modern computer network resources and collaboration with other countries in exchange practice enabled by the national researchers via services and support education network, NREN, is local infrastructure, And finally, I would like to say that hopefully we try to effective complete all planet tasks and goals, and I hope that I can report it to you in the end of the project, and some picture, images, and so on. Thank you very much for your attention.
All right, and before I announce our last award, I will ask all the awardees to come back up at the end for one final picture all together. And so, last but not least, is Paolo Giro for the Mirko project, the Music Instruments Renewal via Contemporary Creation. This is a multi-EAP country project leveraging the Lola technologies.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know that I am at the last obstacle between the conference and the lunch break. I have my 4 minutes presentation that I've been practicing, so it will be. Sir? Yeah, it's working. Thank you very much. Mirko's focus on the preservation of the intangible heritage, and between out of these 7 projects is the one based on artistic research, and I thank you for accepting also this field in this call. The interest on the preservation of the intangible heritage traces back to 2003, when the UNESCO established the Convention for Safeguarding in the Intangible Cultural Heritage. And since then, several projects have been started. And what has happened that is interesting, that also the methodology how to face these projects, research how to preserve the intangible heritage started. For example, there is this interesting research defining a research agenda in preserving the intangible heritage. And I took inspiration from there in trying to define the methodology of the research. And this methodology is preservation via integration. That means that the intangible heritage is going to be glued together with nowadays contemporary creation. I want to show you some example of intangible cultural heritage in the area of Naren countries. And I ensure you that this is UNESCO intangible heritage. I ensure that the list is much longer. I just brought down some example. Sorry for the last one, but also that was a must also to sign it. I go back. And there are several of them. There is much more. Concerning the artistic research part of Mirko, the questions are how technology enhances teaching and learning, and how technology is changing traditional learning methods, and of course, to analyze the impact of the technology in the teaching and learning process. In the preparatory stage of Mirko, 6 National Academy of Music have been involved, and 6 NRANs have been involved. In the countries nowadays, in Nordic Europe country, in the Central Europe country, is a matter of fact that several Academy of Music are client of the NRAN. So they are using the services of the NRAN. And of course, not only the network, but also additional services such as, for example, EduRoam. In the preparatory period, I discovered that in the ERP region, there is none Academy of Music that at the moment is using the services of the local RAN. And just last week was a news for last week that the Academy of Music of Baku, they put down the cable and they are going to use finally the services of the national RAN. So in order to implement the project, there are 2 basic prerequisites, and the connection of the Academy of Music to the local RAN, and the acquisition of appropriate hardware and software for long-distance activity over the network. And this is exactly the point in which the project is at the moment. I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope to be in the capacity to share with you a successful experience in 1 year time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. I think everyone except for the awardees can go to lunch. So yeah, please come up and we'll take a couple of pictures.